What if you could help others to find the power to heal themselves? Physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
When I started teaching my classes, it was in 2002, and I was just doing the past life regressions and contacting the subconscious part. But then as the time went on and we found how powerful this was and what we could do with it, a lot of the students began saying, advanced past life regression doesn't really tell what it's all about. This is so much more than that. We think you should change the name. So it was a few years ago we decided to change the name to Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique. And this is the healing technique that we've now been teaching it, since 2002, that's 12 years.
What if you could time travel with them? Visit mythical places or angelic realms, other worlds, other galaxies. Help others to speak to their higher selves. You can. Dolores has taught thousands of people from across the world how to use QHHT, and now you can learn her method by going directly to dolorescannon.com. And don't forget to mention the discount code MORETALKS. Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The More Show. Now, on today's show, I'm about to be joined by my guest, Sunil Varma. Now, for over 20 years, Sunil has passionately explored energy work, self-inquiry, and hypnotherapy, and found that in a deeply relaxed state, anyone can access the power of their unconscious mind and deeper self to make radical shifts quickly and permanently. In 2006, he became certified in advanced clinical hypnotherapy and neuro-linguistic programming. His spiritual enlightenment provides structures for others seeking their own life success. He seeks to provide grace, humility, and hope, providing authentic inspiration to those that are lost. Sunil Varma, thank you for joining us.
You're very welcome, Kevin.
Well, it's great to have you on, Sunil. So, firstly, your website is?
So www.asksunil.co.uk.
So if you just break down for the audience what it is that you actually do.
And really, my job is my mission here on earth I'm here as a light worker. So it's to help people, to remind people of the light they carry within themselves that they've forgotten about.
Now, you've been doing this work for how long? How many years have you been in the healing field for?
I've been doing it over 20 years, but I've been doing this in lifetimes. So there's probably thousands of lifetimes. There's tons of lifetimes.
How many clients do you think that you've helped?
Probably probably like 2,000, I think. 2,000, I feel. 2 plus. Because I used to give out MP3s and the people would download them from their website. And so this is huge because I used to live in America. And it was really such a big thing for people to receive healing when I was there.
And because you've moved from America a number of years ago back to the UK, and
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, because you went with what you felt was the right process that you should be doing. There were blockages in your life at the time, and you felt actually that the way forward was coming back to the UK.
Exactly.
You followed your intuition, I guess you could say. Yeah,
I did, and it was like my light was needed. My light was needed here in this country because it's so dark.
Well, let's also just add as well, you may be back in England, but obviously you offer your services are available worldwide through
yes, totally, yeah, through Skype
or Zoom.
Yeah, totally, yeah, Zoom.
Okay, and all those services are available on your website as well.
They're on the website.
Yeah,
they're really relationships. If you want to deepen your relationship to yourself, everything that you do is really about yourself. If a relationship with your partner isn't working, it's not their fault. This is your responsibility to heal yourself.
Yes, because at
It
some
all
point,
comes back.
yeah, it comes back to you, doesn't it? Sorry, yeah.
Yes, it does. Because really, you remember, they're just the soul who's agreeing to be with you, to play this game, right? So how do you want to play the game?
And if it's destructive, or you feel it is, then you're still in charge
You work
to.
through it. Yeah, you work through those wounds that you carrying, and realize that no relationship is set in stone, right? It's really not. So we all have agreements, soul agreements with people, and those agreements could be for a lifetime. They may not be for a lifetime. It all depends on you. All depends on if whether or not you have assimilated the information that needs to be assimilated within you, and the learnings that of the relationship at a very high level. And usually, when if you live from that place in you that realizes that this person is really my a partner who's showing me places within myself where I'm not willing to go, so they're really helping you step into those places, right? Of unwillingness. Yeah.
Not always easy, right? Absolutely.
It's not easy at all, right? Unless you recognize that this person is really an extension of myself, a version of me. So you realize that they're just a version of you, and the only thing that stops you from realizing that fully is the ego. So the more you work on your ego, the more you work on the mind, and whatever wounding the mind is carrying, you're doing yourself and that person a favor. And clearing up your wounds that you're carrying inside, however deep they are inside of you, you got to realize that you are the fundamental reality in this whole game. And it's a game, right? Why is it a game? Because if you end up with an abusive partner, you have a choice to either love them, or you can remain abusing them, and it will continue in lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. But you have a choice. Big things that, for me, that I realized that that God, all we do in these lifetimes is we keep acting out the same old stuff again with the same people, and it's always the dysfunctional behaviors. And some people are used to the dysfunction. People can't just say to you, "I want you to love me," or "I want a hug." There's always got to be this drama around it and all of that. When really, underneath it, it's all just like, "Do you love me? Will you always be with me, or will you do this for me?" It's just people just can't communicate clearly with each other.
What's been your experience then with other healers? Because I know that when I was in the UK, which I'm not anymore, I know that there was a lot of healers over there that you could pop into some of these healing centers, and you could become part of the group, and you'd get a experience maybe in healing others. Not only would you go there for healing, but you'd be able to be part of a group to help and train to heal others. Okay, I'm going to stop it there.
My experience with healing work is that for me, I was always really bothered by a lot of healers and how they did their healing work. So I was always many healers, right, take on people's stuff, and they take it on or carry it or something like that. But in my experience of working I used to work with many people, and I used to always have to keep my hands clean, wash my hands all the time, and I in that time when I worked with people with their energies so much, I was like, God, there must be an easier way to do what I'm doing, and that's when I didn't realize the starseed gifts that I had. I never even wasn't even aware of that. And I didn't know that I could teach people to do the work that I do in a clean way. It's all about cleanliness, clean. You're not. I'm just helping people heal their bodies, right? And just by holding space while they can do that. And when it comes to energy work and stuff like that, I'm not really such a big fan of energy work, but I look at it as all like you healing yourself with your own energy fields, with your own energy. And when you work with the galactic team, that's when you absolutely step out of the way of who you are and what you expect without any attachments to what the results are. So you're moving, really transcending the mind and knowing that these are just all systems, right? And that you're being open to a higher galactic nature that can actually resolve the issues that you carry from when you work through it. So it's like brick by brick. The more you put the brick down, the foundation becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. That's how you're going to undo any damage that you're carrying in your body, any pain you're carrying, however long it takes. It's just like you putting a house together again that was ruined because of something. So what you're seeing in me when I'm walking is lifetimes of injury that I'm carrying in the system until I no longer needs to be. And can I cure the disability? I'm not sure about that, but I've cured many ailments that I've been carrying in my body.
Yeah, so you mentioned a few things there. So you're talking about non-attachment to the outcome, which I think probably is important in most of the work we do, but especially in healing as well. Is there any sort of do's and don'ts of healing then, would you say?
Yeah, you've always got to have you've got to be in touch with your good heart, right? You can't do any kind of form of manipulation with people. You've got to come from a clean heart. And so which that means is that you've always got to keep working on yourself, right? So you've got to keep resolving your own issues with yourself, whatever the identity issues are you're carrying, whatever comes up. Because we are these live beings, right? So we do all of us have issues. So when you work with somebody, they're coming to you specifically because you're carrying an issue in you that they're mirroring back to you. That's why people choose healers. Because people unconsciously come to you to show you your own stuff. And so we get in this belief. It's like really all we're doing is we're just we're really expanding the field more and more of who we are. And people, like everyone is a mirror for each other.
Yeah, so you mentioned a few things there. So you're talking about non-attachment to the outcome, which I think probably is important in most of the work we do, but especially in healing as well. Is there any sort of do's and don'ts of healing then, would you say?
Yeah, you've always got to have you've got to be in touch with your good heart, right? You can't do any kind of form of manipulation with people. You've got to come from a clean heart. And so which that means is that you've always got to keep working on yourself, right? So you've got to keep resolving your own issues with yourself, whatever the identity issues are you're carrying, whatever comes up. Because we are these live beings, right? So we do all of us have issues. So when you work with somebody, they're coming to you specifically because you're carrying an issue in you that they're mirroring back to you. That's why people choose healers. Because people unconsciously come to you to show you your own stuff. And so we get in this belief. It's like really, really, all we're doing is we're just we're really expanding the field more and more of who we are. And people, like everyone is a mirror for each other.
Well, leading on from that, do you think that we, at some deeper level, create the diseases that we experience?
Yeah, obviously, yeah, of course. There's I mean, whatever we embody, we're carrying, is our responsibility, right? It's nobody else. Nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to save you. You got to do it yourself, and you got to really have the courage to undo anything that you've taken on from your ancestors, your mother and father's side. You whatever. It could be alcohol, right? It could be any kind of like addiction that you're carrying. Does come from the one side, the parents' generational side.
When we've then maybe self-cured, well, not self-cured, I mean, we, whatever the issue is, we're going to have to seek, medical help for it most times from,
totally.
Western medicine. But there are many times when people do have good results from, whatever they're trying to cure themselves with. I think those good results, though, do you think that comes from a healthy mindset, that actually they've become their own healer in a sense, and they've not realized they've...
Yeah, totally. Right. Western medicine is, there are some really good doctors out there. There are some doctors who are really like really connected to who they are. So I'm not saying everyone's really connected like that, but out of the people I've come across, there are some people who are really connected to their true selves as doctors. Yeah.
So definitely, if you come across energy healing for the first time, if you're not into that sort of spirituality side, let me say that, right, then it might seem very foreign, but I think do you think it does help to have something? Do you think it's necessary to have a sort of an open heart to spirituality when coming to someone like yourselves, or do you think it's not really necessary? The spiritual side is necessary to be sort of open to that. You can still get the help even if you're a newbie to this.
I think so. I mean, as long as you have an open mind, right, and realize that energy, when you hold on to energy, it's not a good thing, right? So it's good to let the energy move through you, so that it can transform itself. So any kind of injury that people carry or trauma they carry, if they don't heal the trauma, then it just becomes too much for the system, and you just get sick.
Okay, but what about someone comes to you, and would you say that they need to be sort of open to the idea of meditation? Is meditation something that you preach, that a client would continue to do or attempts to do after they've had healing with you? Or
no, not really. Not with this kind of work I do. No, with the energy fields, really all I'm saying to the person is it's really simple. I just want you to there's an in energy and an out energy, and I want you to go into the center of intensity of the pain that you're feeling within your body. And most people sometimes, when you say that, they can say, "Yeah, I feel it in my back," and and I'm really present to them as they feel into it and let them release the energy that's trapped in the body. But it's those intensities. It's the intensity that the people are really terrified in the mind of really of really walking into, because it's like a childhood pain, right? You mostly all of it is childhood pain.
That's interesting.
And people don't really have to. You don't have to meditate. You can just do the energy work of just feeling into the emotion, right? Whatever the emotion is within the body. Anger, repressed rage. the more you feel into these things that you're carrying, the more then the body's becoming lighter, because you're undoing generational stuff, family stuff. There's a lot of things going on.
Because you've been
When
through
you
this
work with the-
yourself, haven't you? You've been through the mill
Yeah,
yourself.
totally. Yeah. And for me, it was always like when I was doing all these things, I was like, there's got to be a better way. There has to be an more efficient way than what I'm doing. Because I would always see people who are wounded themselves as healers, and I just was with all of that information. I knew that there was a way that it could be more cleaner and wouldn't cause any problems. And that's when I would work with the Galactic team, and but that takes it's like a really high level that you have to operate from when you do that stuff.
Okay. So you say you're working with a Galactic team. That means, well, I know the word shaman you use sometimes with that connection.
I'm a shaman.
Yeah, you're a shaman. Did that shamanism come from the connection to the Galactic team, or?
No, it comes from I'm an 8th generation shaman. So it's from the family side, right? So which means that I've got many years as well, many lifetimes of being a shaman too. So I've always been a healer in many, probably hundreds of lifetimes. And so there's something that you have to go through when you become a healer, which is that it's like you have to walk this path of a healer. And some people can't do it. They commit suicide doing it. It's a rite of passage, right? It's the rite of passage to become a healer. And some people they just bottle out because it can really take your life, because it's really intense.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of decluttering. There's a lot of letting go, isn't there? There's a lot of shredding and acceptance, and yeah, I can imagine it can be a painful process to take responsibility that a lot of it came from you in some respects, even though it may have been projected from others.
Totally, yeah.
It's
totally.
a lack of love in yourself in some ways, isn't it? That is showing you.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, we'll get into that very quick. I just wanted to mention some of the things, just from having a healing session with yourself. It's definitely distressing. It distresses lots of the issues maybe going on in your life that are causing stress, because even though you're given the healing, really, the work, you're still doing the work as the client. You know what I mean? In most respects.
Totally.
So
totally,
and you probably come out more positive and. There's a lot of subtle, isn't there, things that come from having a healing session.
There is, yeah. But remember, you've also got to do your work after you work with the client to make sure that what issues they've brought up, they're carrying, those issues are resolved within yourself.
Well, let's go there. Let's go on a completely dark side of it, right? If you've got clients coming to you, have you ever had clients coming to you where there's something else working with them, where there's something attached to them in a sense?
Yeah, demonic people. Yeah, not people who are really dark and demonic, and I was like thinking, when I was there, I was thinking, oh yeah, I could easily help these people, but what I didn't realize is that I was taking on their demonic stuff. But what within me, though, the thing about me is that I know at a very deep level how to transmute things and transmute them all into light. So I don't have an interest in being dark or all that stuff. It really doesn't do diddly squat for me.
No, you've got no interest in going down there, but you do acknowledge it.
No interest.
You do acknowledge it. You do acknowledge it in the sense that when some clients do see you, there's something else there. And
yeah,
how do you remove that? Is it getting them to acknowledge that they have the power to let go of all these issues, that they don't need to, which sort of dissolves the connection with anything, or how does that work?
It is. It's really. I think for myself, when I work with people, I do remind them that everything is energy, right? and I do remind people that there is always a consequence for what you're doing. If you want to be that way, if you want to, there's always there's a consequence for that kind of stuff. But I'm just holding their space and reminding them that I don't judge you. You are love, and that so it can all be. You can be transformed really easily if you want to be.
Yeah. Do you think having a session with you as well, we're doing the energy healing work, that you're connecting more to, you've said this already, but I'll just say it, more to the source, more to the true nature of who you are, more to your soul?
Totally.
No, just with your own process then. So if I've not mentioned this before, so you had cancer of the ankles at one point, and you've obviously that there is no cancer there anymore. I think you was living in America at the time when you were diagnosed, and you came back over to the UK. So I guess you've gone through major shifts yourself as well. But even though you've cured the cancer, curing the disease is one thing, but then if people have got deep rooted physical issues with their cells, with their joints, with that's a whole nother issue to fix, isn't it, as well? The body, in a sense.
It is, yeah. You have to remember, right, it's an incomplete experience, right? So if you've gone through a massive trauma, it's an incomplete experience, and the body still remembers it. The body's still alive with it. So for me, I have to do a lot of incomplete experiences until my body starts to feel more in sync and more better for it, but really 100% better. So any injuries, any past life stuff. So for me, my body remembers all the past life things, like the injuries in the past life. So for some reason, my body was carrying a lot of these. It was just like that. I brought in all these injuries within myself, and to heal, right? But I probably did that in a way to heal humanity of the injuries that they're carrying inside.
Yeah, and you probably would tell the client, or you have told clients previously, and you've probably come to this conclusion yourself, because I think you've mentioned it to me off air as well, that everything that happens to you happens out of an act of love. Now, what I mean by that as well is, no matter how difficult the situation is that you're going through, if you could see it that it was there to teach you out of an act of love, even though it may not look very loving, if you can't come from that space, are you allowing the energy to flow then to be released from you, in a sense?
Yeah, because remember, for me, I already know inside that it's all a game. everything's part of a big game, and I know that I am the fundamental reality in everything. That everything else is made by everyone else is here because of my thoughts. I know that. I understand that. I get it at the core level inside, and because I get that at the core level inside, I know that this is all just a make-believe reality. Okay,
but that is a message that you do give to clients. So that everything happens out of an act of love. But that
no. I wouldn't do that in the beginning.
Oh no,
because most people wouldn't want to hear that.
No, I know they wouldn't. Yes.
They wouldn't. They'd be like, they'd lose it. They'd lose it.
I mean, that's where you're coming from the basis of your work, though.
Cause it's all an act of love, and I don't judge you for what's going on with you, for what you put yourself through. There's no judgment there whatsoever. But I do know one thing, that you can come out of it just the way that you came into it, but you can come out of it with a different perspective.
Yeah, because a lot of
more
times,
loving.
Well, a lot of times we're given. I think you might have said this, but we're giving our power away, aren't we?
Totally,
a lot of us.
Totally.
Yeah, and is that what causes? I mean, how do we give our power away when there's a disease there? But then again, if we've not been dealing with something as you say, from childhood, right, which is a massive one, right?
Yeah.
I guess that manifests in certain different parts of the body, doesn't it?
It totally does, right? Because you're carrying also. You see, when I was born, I came in with karmic wounding, so I was carrying wounds inside of me, which I wouldn't even know about, and I had so much trauma even as a child, and so I was strangled as a child, as a 2-year-old, and I had no idea really about why that happened. All I knew is that I was always angry as a kid. I was always angry, and and because because of the trauma, the massive trauma, I would never have been open to even any of the stuff that I talk about, because there's got to be a willingness inside of you to really want to be yourself, and to completely let go of any systems that you've been connected to or attached to ever.
Right, but then as a client goes through the healing with yourself, do you find that most of them, but not all, but most of them, that there's a willingness to be more in love with themselves in that process?
I think so, yeah. If they put the work in, they're going to transform. There's no reason why they wouldn't transform. I mean, people do that kind of work because they're fed up with all the abuse. They're fed up with all the drama. They've kind of pushed the limit of the craziness of the mind, right? And what pain that it can deliver to them. And everybody's been through that, where they've experienced so much pain that they're like, I want out, because it's too much, right?
You could say you've been there as well. You're a living example of that.
I have. I've seen it. I was really addicted to it. I wouldn't have thought there was any other normal way if somebody would have told me. But for me, it was really, it reached a point where everything was I did everything through my mind, right? So I kind of did everything to avoid my body, because I was living outside of my body, and I was terrified to be in my body because I thought I would die.
Yeah. Well, you nearly did.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. And I guess you got to a point, I know you did, where you just fell a bit more in love with yourself. You saw the illusion for what it was. You were able to self-heal, and you're now passing this gift on to others. It's not like you've just come along and not done any of the work yourself.
No,
what I mean?
This is like lifetimes of work, right? And lifetimes in this, many hours. Like most people would always go out drinking or partying and all that, and I'd be doing self-inquiry work probably when I was like 30, in my 30s, just staying home for hours and hours doing self-inquiry work, just to understand what really is going on, or why am I just the way I am, and only now to realize that everything is just the way it is, right? And it's whether you want to choose good experiences or you want bad experiences. So the choice is always yours. And if you want good experiences, then you've got to heal the wounding that you carry.
And we all carry that in some respects.
Yes,
naturally.
There's no way you can avoid it. We all have it. We're all born with it. We carry these humanity's wounds, right? Pain, suffering, grief, sorrow, sadness, shame, abusive relationships. We carry all these different things within ourselves.
So then you could say, I'm going to say this, and I'm saying this for the first time, but maybe it's good to take time out to heal then, ever so often.
It really is, yeah. Because you're doing yourself a favor and a service to the world, right? Because you're not acting out those wounds on people or on places, right? So you're like wanting to be conscious and be really aware about yourself and the energy you're putting out there.
You can operate from, being in a space of loving yourself, loving to others. I think we're all trying to learn to have that more in our lives, and setting your intentions as well is an important one, isn't it? When it comes to healing as well.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really. I look at it like, I mean, you're always in between these three realities every day. You're in between the third dimension, the fourth, and the fifth. So we fluctuate between all three dimensions every day. So sometimes you could really do something or be sitting somewhere, and suddenly you'll feel a lot of fear or anger, and suddenly you'll be like, "Oh God, why am I so angry?" Because you feel betrayed, and that's just an old memory is coming up because that's just how it works. It just you have to be aware that you are energy, and so whenever the wounding appears within you, because it can take many clearings, you just got to be willing to allow it to happen and to face into it, and just realize that you won't die when you do it.
And you're working at a high level. You're basically transforming that energy from a high level for the work that you're doing now. Yeah.
It's all energy, right? There's no judgment whatsoever. I've been there. I've been in those places that people have been through, right, where they feel less than, or they feel like you feel really, really angry, right? And that you want to kill everyone. And so everyone's been there. Everybody goes through all those things. But then when you realize all these things, you realize that from a high level, you realize this is all just yourself. It's just you. You're just fighting with yourself, or you're at war with yourself.
What? Yeah, absolutely you are. Isn't that terrible, really, isn't it? Oh my God, but you think about it. Oh my God.
It's there with everyone, right? People they can come from families that if they're living in a certain part of the country, there could be so many high volumes of anger in that country, and people just adopt the programs of the country, right, to be more angry, more volatile, and all these things. And it's until you realize, God, it's like I'm just allowing the programming of this country, or all these things that this country carries, to really affect me.
Yeah, and everything that's going on in the world right now as well.
Totally, yeah.
Absolutely. So what is your ritual then when you do energy healing work? And I ask that because maybe those, just watching this and just thinking about that type of work, is there anything that they could do from home that could be a sort of ritual that, that could help them do some work on themselves as well?
Yeah, really, the stuff I do myself, right, is really, I never ever want to feel, because I understand what you put out there, you get back. So for me, it's like really important to release any negativity that I'm carrying inside of myself, and I do that probably every day. And so I'm always working on myself, right? So I work on high levels. So I understand the geometry side of it, and so I can collapse spatial time within myself really quick. And so when that happens, it's like I'm really used to it, because I'm moving energy usually for 12 hours, within the day, and just transforming the energy patterns within my body and the brain, physiology of the brain too. So I know that I'm a hologram. I understand that about myself, and I know this is I am the fundamental reality of everything. that nobody else, there is no one else, it's just me. And you have your version of I see within each person. Every person is really greeting me, and because that's me, a version of myself.
I guess then you're also, when you do this work, is there any sort of protection for yourself? Do you sort of, are you cleansing your I mean, I'm using the word cleansing your chakras.
There's no need to. There's no need for me. I don't do that kind of stuff because I really because I'm working with myself. I don't do energy work with people. I never usually do that with people. But I will teach people how to do it for themselves. And that's a big. I've learned from it probably through my own history that it's always good. It's always good to think about protecting yourself by holding the space as the light that you are.
Yeah. Well, here's another way of saying it as well. I'm saying this obviously, but cleansing yourself as well. No, sorry, blessing yourself. It's almost like blessing yourself, isn't
totally,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just with this work I do, with holding space for people is probably the best way you can ever assist anyone ever, when you hold space for them, because you're not judging them. You just realizing that's a version of you in front of you.
That's deep. Yeah.
However, whatever they're going through, that's you, sitting right in front of you. And so you at some level have to accept that about yourself and love that and go, yeah, that is me. I am everyone. I am everything that goes on in this world. I am the dark. I am the light. I'm all of it.
Is there a lot of work that you do with your hands when you're doing the energy work?
No, really, no. I don't have to do that, because for some reason I know how to access people. If I do energy work, if I was to do energy work with them, I would. It's already built into me to understand that they're a hologram, right? And I'm a hologram, and that I'm working on their hologram all the time. So it doesn't matter. You can ask for protection. Yes, you can surround yourself with golden light, and you can make sure that really it's up to you, right? What protocols you have yourself, what you're going to follow. If you're entering into energy work with somebody and you're saying you're having the guides do the work, then yeah, you probably make sure that they're protected with the golden energy.
And you're able to see when a client comes to see you, where the blockages are in the person's body, maybe where the energy is not flowing, in a sense. If they.
Yeah, I listen to how they talk, right? So I listen to how they talk, and usually people, the eyes show you, right? The eyes locate the pain and all these things and all that, whatever's going on. And so, and obviously I usually have a questionnaire that they fill out. And so then I realize, I can see that, okay, this is what's going on. Then intuitively, I usually see, okay, yeah, this is where they're stuck and they need help.
Yeah, it's a bit like, you understand the anatomy, of the energy body, in a sense. Yeah, because you've done so much work. Yeah. And this work that you're doing, this has been going on since probably for centuries, right? This type of energy healing work, yeah.
But this is, I call this like energy coaching, right? It's like energy coaching because my goal is to show the person how to do it themselves. And I don't usually want to enter into people's energy fields with energy, as long as I can guide them to do it themselves. And yeah, because I don't really want people to be dependent on me. So I want them to learn to master their own energy fields, be the master of themselves.
Okay, so you're giving them keys to sort of unlock.
That's exactly, that's the goal.
Yeah, and that goes along with maybe whatever exercises that they might need to do for the body, or meditation, whatever you feel is the right way forward for
Totally.
But you do so you do the one-to-one sessions, but then you do other things on your website, and your website is
asksunil.co.uk.
Okay, and on there you offer.
I offer. You can do group healing. I work with groups. I also do sessions where people can buy 6 hours, 12 hours, depending on how deep they want to go within themselves. So some people can be really. They can come with a real bunch of issues that they're carrying inside that they haven't ever thought about working through. And so until the pain becomes too much, that they're like, okay, I've got to do something. I can't handle it no more.
Right. Okay. So that's all on your website. We've been bringing some of that up
It's
on the
website,
screen as well. Yeah. So basically, you're sort of like bringing out the missing link between healing and consciousness. You're that sort of
exactly
that middle connector. But yeah, that's forging that bridge.
I've got MP3s as well that are on the website too. So I sell MP3s. I do the one-on-one healings. I do the group healings if they want group. Basically, the whole thing, the whole gist about everything is really connecting you back to who you are.
Yes, and giving people the power back that they can do this themselves. You're pushing them to that.
Turning on the light within yourself, right?
Yes, turn the light on within yourself. It's so important. What would you say is an important message of your work then, right now, with the times that we live in as well?
You create your reality, yeah? There's a movie a long time ago, I think it's called Life is Beautiful, right? It's this movie about this guy who ended up in the Hitler's camps. And he chose to, regardless of the situation, he chose to be loving in the face of death and fear. Even though in the end he died, right, saving his son, but he never ever let onto his son that this was a gruesome place. So we create a reality, right? So how do you want to live your reality? It's all in our hands.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? How do you want to live your reality? And what have you chosen for that answer?
Love. I work on myself every day, Kevin, right? Every day I work on it because I know that energy changes, like within 24 hours, the energy changes really quick. So I've always got, for me, it's like I'm always aware, I'm always off. And if I get stuck in some judgment towards somebody, then I'm like, why am I doing that? And then I'm like, okay, then I've got to work through this myself. Because you know what, you are having to face yourself all the time. It's always you're always going to see yourself in every person.
Right, absolutely. So part of the healing, I'll just remind myself of this again, it's healing with love in a sense, isn't it? It's healing and love together.
Yeah. It's healing from a place of non-judgment and just healing yourself in a place where you realize that this is your creation. I created this. So how do I step into the best version of myself?
Replacing fear with love. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And it's changing those habits within yourself until you become really positive and
maybe even embracing the hard times, right?
Exactly, right? So you know we've all seen that, right? We've all seen the hard times. We all know what it looks like, and
letting go. There's another one.
Letting go and just raising your bar right within yourself, raising the bar.
Celebrating everything you've got, maybe.
Yep, exactly. Because in a minute, in a heartbeat, it could all end. We know that it could all end really quick. And then we'll be like, oh God, oh please, 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 God, like help me, rescue me. And then and people often, when they do that, they never ever usually think about God until something falls apart, or if their life is ending really, oh God, please help me. And then after that, they're back to judging God, hating God, and all these things.
Isn't that so true? Also, I'll add as well, one thing I'm trying to learn is, living the life that you've got right now. You may want to run away from it, but what about living it? What about living it?
Exactly, living it.
I use another word, loving, but what about, I'll just replace loving with living. It might be easier for some people to swallow. It is for me. So yeah.
It's really understanding how, you see, for me, right, I'll give you an example. Self-love for me is something that I have to practice every day. I have to look at, where am I not loving myself? Where am I not doing this? And I'll say, okay, I'm not loving myself like this with the food I eat, or something. There's something that I shouldn't be doing. And then I have to work on that within myself. I have to change the energy. It's just like that. And that's just like everyone, right? We all have habits within ourselves that require we clean the system out of all the negativity that you're carrying. And
no matter what we're going through, whatever hard times we're going through, you're never alone. And
no, you never are alone, right? Because you have like a team all around you. We have the angels around us. We have our team around us. We have our higher selves, and so we're not alone. Even though it feels like that, even though we feel like, where am I? Or I miss my home, and the home is probably like really thousands of starlight worlds away. So we are star seeds, and so we understand at the core, with everything that's going on, that we come from higher dimensions. That's why we get ill. That's why we have sickness, because we're living in a dense, really in a 3D dimension. When you're back in the dimensions that you originally came from, there's no illness there. It doesn't exist.
No, but also, what about seeing the beauty of this dimension as well? Even though it may be full of what we call ugliness, there is beauty out there. If you just want, look at the people that have their awakening moments, and they open the front door. Everything's the same, but it's just full of beauty. It's full of color. It's full of that they've awoken something in themselves, that they were a bit asleep. Just everything's. It's how you perceive it, isn't it? And I think this goes back to your work in how you respond to your disease, how you respond to your issues. And again, the response is obviously working with someone like yourself for the healing as well.
It's taking responsibility, right, at the deepest level, and realizing that okay, I chose this. For some reason, I'm carrying it. And I've got to make the best situation out of it, the best I can.
So if people want to book with you, they just go directly to your website. What we're going to do, Sunil, is we're going to link everything in the description below for this video. All right. So
sure.
We've been bringing your website up on the screen as well. We will get you back in the not too distant future. And we could talk about more about the healing work, because it's like I said at the beginning of this interview, it's such.
I should do a session with you, right? I'll work with you
the next time. We will the next time. Trust me, when we've got the time. I think what I'm trying to say is, I've experienced this healing, and it's like it's connecting with this like invisible force. This. It's difficult to put into words, right? But you do feel it, and you've got to be open to it, I think. And it does work. So, Sunil, if there's any closing remarks you want to make?
Yeah, thank you for having me on here, Kevin. And just remember, everyone, that in the times that we're living in, we are the light. we're even if we don't feel that we're the light sometimes, and we are that, we are these beams of light within ourselves. And you just have to have the courage to step into this light that you are, removing all the illusions that you're carrying. And that's really all I'm doing, helping you remove the illusions that you've covered yourself in.
Well, Sunil, just thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. All right.